Hey, this is Mr. Cupcake, and welcome to a look at Miniature Building Authority's Shanty Town. I had a chance to talk to Kirk and Jim at HurricCon 2017, and I got some good looks at the products that are coming into the Kickstarter that's coming up for their Shanty Town Kickstarter, as well as just kind of some behind-the-scenes look, and we're actually going to get a look at the book. I don't know if you've ever been to a show where MBA is at, you will be familiar with the Jim's book of great ideas and prototypes and stuff like that. So we'll take a look at that as well, a little more informally in a minute. But I wanted to give you just kind of a look at the Shanty Town as a whole. You can see that it's a great line. Unlike some of their other lines, it is unpainted. It comes unpainted, and I actually think that's a really good thing. I think it's a smart idea for this line because there's so much flexibility to the pieces. Some of their other buildings, their European building line, I love them. I have a ton of it. I have a ton of the castle stuff. There's kind of, it's a very dedicated purpose. But with the Shanty Town, they kind of went a different direction and really gave us something that's moldable that you can really kind of do your own thing with. And the paint, how you painted the painting scheme is definitely one area that you can really customize. So you could have like the same piece, 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, on the table, and you can definitely, how you paint it can make them each stand out in their own way. And it's really important, if you look back in the background of this picture, you can see it blends very well with their modern line of buildings. Same thing with their Middle East line and even some of the European buildings, depending on what setting you're doing. And that's one thing that's great about the Shanty Town as well, is that it can be used in a lot of ways. You can even think outside the box a little bit. Obviously, it's modern. It's geared towards modern environment in maybe third world countries and whatnot. But you can also use it for post-apocalyptic, near future, and you'll see even a couple of the pieces will even fit even into historical sets. So they're just kind of sneaking a couple things in here that'll have some real flexibility in what you can do with them. So keep that in mind as we flip through this, that you're limited only by your imagination. So you can see some of these context pictures, some settings. You can see a lot of the table scatter, which we're going to take a closer look at some of that stuff here in a few minutes. And I love this little diorama here. I think they had it on their webpage for a while too. I actually picked up a pack of those chickens at HurricCon, so I plan on doing something similar for Pirates. So Pirates setting. So just like I said a moment ago, you got some flexibility. You can use different pieces for different things. And they just teased this van turned into a little house on their website recently, and that was a great looking piece. We'll take a close look at it in a second. So, like their Castle Kickstarter, like their European line Kickstarters, they're going to include stuff that's available today. Which is a great opportunity because I'm pretty sure with the Castle they kind of give you a little bit of a discount. You can maybe pick up some free shipping, and also to use those purchases to get those stretch goals or work in some of those stretch goals, so you don't have to worry about I got why buy the new stuff? I haven't even got the old stuff, because you can do it all at one time. So it's a good way of getting into the whole line in one shot. So here we're going to take a close look at the clinic, which is on their website right now. You see it's beautifully painted by Jim. They said they're going to offer a painted version of the buildings, a painting option, kind of like they did with the Castle Kickstarter. They did say it won't quite be to this detail, but don't worry. I sat down with Jim, and he gave me a master class on painting these buildings to this degree. He said, you just do it. So it's that simple. Just pick up and just do it. But no, in all seriousness, though, we were giving him a hard time about that bit of advice. But he was telling me about some of the research he did, on the tagging and everything like that. So he went through a lot of effort to do that, and gave me some. He was giving me tips like to do it, and then if you mess up, go over it, because there's a lot of, if you look at actual street art, you'll see like where people come, it's like layered almost like that. So anyway, so that's a whole other conversation, I guess. So we'll go in there. Here's the detail of the interior of the clinic. You can obviously paint it up, so the texture will be there. You can do whatever you want with it, and then you can see it's just wonderfully done. Here's a good, make your patient feel good paint scheme you can put on the table. And then now let's take a look at the police station, also available right now on their website, and it will be available in the Kickstarter too. And it does have a little extra sizzle. That's what Kirk likes to call it, sizzle. So we're going to take some closer look. And that's one of the things they're doing with this Kickstarter, which I really love, is they're going to give us the ability to kind of work in that scatter terrain, but it adds a lot of character to the table. And I think it's a really smart idea, especially for the Shanty Town. They've been doing it with their other lines, and I picked up several pieces, for that, which is it's really helped. It really makes the table stand out. It really brings out those little details. And there's another angle at it, and you see the tray of donuts with the pink icing. It's awesome. Okay, so this is what you can look forward to. And what's really cool about this is with the Shanty Town, they have this very, very rundown aesthetic. It kind of, you can see like there's a more polished look, for lack of a better term, with the police station, even with the clinic a little bit. But now they're going to give us some buildings that you can really work in there to kind of maybe think of it like an estuary between this and some of the other modern buildings, so you can really create some variety in your table layouts. So you got these buildings here. You've got the Happy Buddha Laundry, which is a really cool piece. So obviously you can do whatever you want with it. It could be a restaurant. It could be anything you want to do. They've got this piece here, which is now they're doing the lean-to. You can see the lean-to. You can see all this debris around it and stuff like that. There's a little car door to really kind of add some texture, some of that sizzle we keep talking about. And then there's your van that they teased the other day, which I absolutely love this piece. In person, it was, just the little details with the barrel and like just everything. It was wonderfully done. And then here's an inside look at the bank. You can see the safe over here on the corner side. It's got like a little teller window, a little back door, or a little back area. There's another angle at it. And this is another building. I can't recall what they call this building, but it's just essentially, you can do whatever you want with it. And you'll see as we go forward here, they're giving us all kinds of components to put in buildings and around buildings, so you can really kind of make it your own. And then this is a really cool piece. They're calling it the warehouse, I believe, but you'll see in a second here, it has some flexibility. So this is a really good. And there it is with another little building attached to it or set next to it. You can kind of see. And then they're going to give the components to do a lean-to, which is really cool. So we were having trouble balancing it all on the table, so you'll have to see it in kind of in stages here. And then there's some of that, the warehouse with some of the sizzle in it, which is going to be that stack of boxes or stowage, whatever you want to call it. And then this is again, okay, so now here's the same piece, right? So it's a warehouse, boom. Now it's a dive bar, and you'll take a close look at these components in a few minutes too. But you got your little pinball machine, your pool table, your cue rack, dartboard, jukebox, the whole 9 yards. So now you can take that same building and repurpose it, or have two of them on the table, paint them slightly different. One's a warehouse, one's your dive bar, and now it's a convenience store. I believe that's the same building. No, I think that's a different building. Here's your convenience store, and you can see the racks in there. And then I love this piece here. It's like the behind the counter thing with all the cigarettes and everything like that. It could be a rundown convenience store if you can use it. I believe they have a convenience store in the modern line. You can use it with that as well. So look at it. So here's some of that sizzle, Kirk sizzle. This simple little set, with some kitchen appliances and whatnot, and the laundry there. You could do whatever you want. You could do so many different things. They had this little setup on the table right here, like a little fish cleaning station. We've all been there. You got that dock. You got where they clean the fish, and they have some the bait storage or whatever. Or maybe they put some fish on ice, so you can really kind of add those little details on the table to really, tell a story. I love telling stories on the tabletop while you're gaming and stuff like that. So this is a really good opportunity to do that. And then it's one of their existing buildings. This is just to show you the level of detail and what just some painting can do to pull it out. You can see all the debris on the roof. You can see the corrugated sheets here, how they're even different widths and sizes. So mixing up the colors and how heavy you are with dry brushing, maybe more metallic, maybe more painted. You can have these buildings literally side by side, the same building side by side, and it'll look completely different. And there it is with removable roof, because as I've said before in other videos, MBA, they're gamers. This is gaming stuff designed by gamers. So they're going to have removable roofs. They're going to make sure, they're not going to get so wrapped up in the detail that you can't use them on the table. So you're going to have that ability to actually use them in a game, which is for me, it's fantastic. So here's some, another little pop of detail that you can put out there. With this little mechanic set, it's got the bench. This is it painted up. Obviously, it'll come unpainted when you purchase it. I love it. I love the little radio equipment there. I love the acetylene torch there. This can be, mounted on a wall. That was one of the little tricks. Like if you think, oh no, I got a permanent mount. No, it's so painfully obvious in hindsight. But like I was at a couple shows ago, and Jim used a little bit of like, I think it was Kirk, but he used a little bit of like double-sided tape and put a door on a castle. And I was like, that's so painfully obvious in hindsight, but you can do the same thing with this. So you can tape it up in the interior of a building, and then next game you can have that building doing something completely different. So here's some more scatter terrain. Here's this little shed thing. I forget what we called it, but it's like basically look like it's like some kind of like a work shed, and the chicken coop, and then a trash pile. And these are the things, like I was saying earlier, it really, in my opinion, helps bring some character to the table, helps to really add bring some life to it. And this is one of those pieces that you can use anywhere, pretty much any time period. I mean, chicken coop's a chicken coop for how long, right? So you could have this using in a historical setting, or like a early American setting and stuff like that. So I plan on even using it on my pirate table at some point. I'm definitely going to try to pick up this piece. And here's another little scatter piece that they're doing. It's a little meat cart. I probably don't want to ask too many questions about what kind of meat is on that cart, depending on the setting. But that's another thing you can have out there on the table. And then they're going to give us some vehicles. And these are really cool. They did a lot of research on the scale, proportion, and stuff like that. So it was really cool to see them in person. Can't wait to see these painted. I love the gun position up here. I love the fact that they're going to make it so you can have different styles of truck. As you got your cover truck, your cargo tank, and then your flatbed. And then they're also going to give us some more military vehicles. This is the newer replacements of the Humvee. I can't recall offhand what the designation of it is, but they're looking at. So this is a kind of a cool little piece. So if you've ever seen a table of MBA table, or they're set up at a show, you'll know that they have little Easter eggs all over the table. And this is one jumped out at me because I looked at it like, that silhouette looked really familiar, but I couldn't place it right away. And then I realized that's Tomater. And they started laughing like, yeah, it is. They found it for like a couple bucks at a shop, and then he repainted it. So they'll sprinkle stuff like that in here. And again, that kind of speaks to their mindset when it comes to developing this kind of stuff and designing it and everything, is that they really want to bring out that, make your tables kind of stand out. It's not just have static buildings out there. They want to add those little elements that can really add that, like I said, that texture, that character that helps you tell a story. And when you're just playing, even if it's just a one-off game, really just draw your players into the experience. So that's the kind of mentality it looks like they're bringing to this next Kickstarter. So look for a lot of sizzle and a lot of little pieces that you can really take your table to the next level, especially if you've already started on this line. If you're starting fresh, you can go back to the beginning, pick up some of the standard pieces that they've done, and then go from there and really build a very nice tablescape, and you will not be disappointed. Just like everything else, their quality is out of control good. We were joking because I had actually asked on the Facebook, because I needed a half wall, and or I needed an odd size wall for my castle, and I was like, how do I cut an MBA building? I said, I know this is like practically sacrilege, but I asked him how you cut it, and the short answer is you can't. Because it's just so durable. There's really no effective way of really cutting their pieces, And now maybe with the Shanty Town stuff, it's a little thinner than in some places, but the resin is so quality and the product is so good that it's sturdy, it's playable, and it's going to have a lot of characters. As you've seen over the course of these pictures, you can really just add your own spin on these pieces, since they come unpainted and they're ready to go to bring to your table. So I highly recommend you look at the Kickstarter. It's coming up in a few weeks here at the end of October, and this is 2017 in case somebody watches this in the future. But if they've already done the Kickstarter, then check out their website, and be sure to check out their Shanty line and Shanty Town line, and pick up some of their great products. So now, before we go though, I have got one last thing to show you. So if you've ever been to a show with MBA, you may have had the opportunity to be treated with a glance at the book. I call it the book. It's really a folder. It's got a bunch of concept pictures, prototypes and all that kind of fun stuff. And, and I just happened to have my hands on it and my phone camera. So I went through it and I took a bunch of pictures of everything in there to kind of give you maybe that behind the scenes look of what they're thinking and what you might expect from the upcoming Kickstarter. And I have another video. I kind of broke it down into sections because they have some concepts and prototype pictures for a whole nother thing that they introduced me to at Huracan, and I'm going to do a whole separate video on that because I believe it deserves its own time. So let's go through this. This is the book and their modern line and their Shanty Town. And this is the police station concept. I'm going to go through these kind of quick, but feel free to pause at any point and take a little closer look, and I'll try to call out some stuff as I can. This is like the original prototype of the police station, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is the original clinic, if I'm not mistaken. Or I don't know. Okay, so this is some of that little better look at it. This is going to be in the next Shanty Town, or the Shanty Town Kickstarter. The meat cellar, and then the stacks of stuff for the warehouse. This piece, they said they're very seriously considering offering it with a different roof, so you could use it like in a medieval setting. Or like I said, I plan on using that, as well as I'm hoping if it's flexible enough, then I can use it in with the pirate stuff as well. So another example of how they are trying to give you as much flexibility as they can, and they're going to reuse some of these designs across different time periods, which I think is kind of cool too, because if you do cover multiple eras of gaming, you can have these pieces. Like I use the market stalls for like virtually everything. Their market stalls are awesome. They're pre-painted, and you can I've dropped them from hundreds of years different things, medieval to modern and everything. So it works out really, really, really well. And here's a closer look at the concept or the test prints of the bar furniture. And then didn't really come out in the other picture, but you can see the flat screen TVs here, which is pretty cool. I can't wait to see what people do with these because I just think it's going to be incredible. And then here's another building. This is the warehouse. Yeah, that didn't really come out great, but we saw that on the bench. That's it with the roof on of the lean-to you can add to a building or put up against a building. I thought it would be a really good addition for a dive bar because you can have a little smoking area out back or a little hangout area, whatever you want to call it. There's the back side of that other building. I can't recall what they're calling it. A little shop building. And there's your bank. There's the bank. And some more. I think that's the double shanty building, if I'm not mistaken. And this is, you can see though here, look at all this detail around here that you can just have just a field day with and really bring out. There it is. That's the lean-to. Again, you saw it in the painted version, but all that debris is part of the building. There's that little work shed. Mechanic stuff. Here's the backside of the laundry I showed you earlier. So I think it also would work really well for a restaurant. So you have like a little back area. You could put that little trash heap back here, and you could show the refuse from the day's work. And there it is. There's a early prototype of one of their existing Shanty Town buildings. Here's another little prototype they're thinking of doing laundry. And there's the convenience store setup. I think that's that's the backside of the convenience store. And this is like, you could put this in a store, you could put this out front somewhere, in a market area type setup, just basic stuff. I really hope they produce this one. I think this is just really cool looking. Yeah, see there it is against the building. A different mechanic setup, little workshop, auto mechanics. Some computer equipment, office equipment. There's that van again, which here's the back side of it. I didn't get a good shot of the back, the painted one, but this is just phenomenal. I love the little window box here. It's just such a great detail. Little just texture, like a little dirt area. I'm not 100% sure. I think this is an above ground hot tub. And of course, there's that humor again. So it's a Florida snowman. I think that's just like a roof window AC thing, maybe roof fan. So this is another thing, like you could use this to make one of your other buildings look more modern. I think this is just like lean-to awnings. And then there's your meat cart. Scooter, because I mean, seriously, some places around the world, I mean, you can't throw a rock without hitting 16 scooters, so that'd be a nice little detail piece, have it leaning against a building or in an alley. I mean, it's just wonderful. There's another building that they're looking at potentially doing, the ice cream shop. And there's the back. Shipping pallets, another great little detail piece. I mean, they're very ubiquitous in a lot of areas. Oil drums. I love this little water pump. I think this would be really cool. You could use this in a rural village. You could use it in the side street alley. There's just so many different little things you could do with that. Shanty boat. I'm really excited about seeing this. And just to tease our next video, you'll see why in the next video, because they're going to be doing some stuff that I think will actually work really well with the Shanty Town stuff, depending on how creative you want to get, or if you want to go into like a post-apocalyptic alternate future type, maybe Shadowrun-y type thing. You're going to be able to use this piece with another Kickstarter that's going to be coming early next year. Little teaser. The stack shanty. I love this. This is just like pure redneck engineering right there. I mean, definitely. It's a high-rise apartment in the sky. There's another water shanty. Side, look at it. Shotgun. This one just appeals to me too, because if you look, I love the slope of this roof. You can see kind of the tarp up there and everything like that. It's just got a different shape than some of the stuff we've been looking at. And then even from the front, with that slope roof and stuff, it just really stands out. Luggage. It's a cool little detail. And then the shopping cart. I can't wait to see this painted up. I think people are going to have a really good time with this one. This one didn't come out too good, but it's a little closer look at the office furniture. Some more office furniture. And then also this is the for the clinic. This is the doctor's examination table and a little doctor's table and stuff. They were actually talking at the show. They're thinking about doing a street dentist too, which would have like a little box of tools, and he'd have his little pliers for pulling teeth and stuff like that, which I thought was just awesome, because you could have it either in the doctor's office or you could have just on a corner, which would be just awesome. There's a close look at the safe, and there's we saw this earlier. And of course you have to have an old couch. I mean, if you can't have a proper shanty town without an old couch. And the makeshift table there with the tires. Can't wait to see what games people put on that table. There's your trash heap. We saw that earlier. Chicken coop. And that is it. I just want to thank MBA for the opportunity to look behind the scenes and really just to spend some time with their book and my camera. Take the time to point out the pieces and give me an opportunity to really get my hands on this stuff, because I think you're going to be very, very happy with what they're producing. I think you're going to be very happy with where they're taking the line, how they've expanded it, just the absolute flexibility of all the pieces, and especially for people who really enjoy painting, are going to just love all the detail on this stuff. I will point out one quick thing. They picked up this little smart car. You'll notice another little Easter egg they put on their table. I made the suggestion that they should turn it into a technical. So if you go to one of their tables and you see a technical smart car, they were taking copious amounts of notes and bantering ideas around, so I don't want to spoil anything, but take a look for the smart car technical, and remember that Mr. Cupcake helped put that idea into motion. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, game well. Game very well.